Welcome to Half-Ass Movie Podcast, a show where each week Bruce Leslie, Sweet Shanzi, and me, Adam Portress, will put together a half-ass theme as an excuse to watch movies. This month, we're on the road to the release of Deadpool Wolverine, and we take a look at the various movies from Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds, and we dare to ask, are these guys any good? All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a Half-Ass Movie Podcast, HMP Volume 2, Episode 1. Hey, we're back. We're back.
I love that. I love that you do that. I love that you did that, the Volume 2, Episode 1. That's really cool, man.
So yeah, it's the same great taste that you've seen before, but now with a new advertising on the front of the box and everything. Same great taste, new, but this might. But if all things go bad, though, I think we may use this kind of like new Coke, to where this is the era. Then you're like, well, oh, you wanted the old thing again? No, but we got some great stuff.
Here's the good thing about podcasts. It doesn't matter.
No. And here's the thing that people don't remember. When they went to the new Coke, you know what that was. That wasn't them just going, oh, we want to rebrand this and everything. That was to get over to high fructose corn syrup. That was that whole thing. They were just like, oh yeah, now we're classic Coke. It's not sugar anymore. It's high fructose corn syrup. Oh well. That's how they switch you, everybody. And we switched it up on you as well. We're just doing movie stuff now and everything, but it gets us to do a whole lot more, and we can spread our wings and fly a little bit. As I said, we're covering the movies of Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman leading up to the Deadpool Wolverine. So I feel like this is kind of us tempering you a little bit, you know? There's a little old school H&P at the end of this rainbow here and everything, but we're just going to ease you into the water, you know? We don't want to splash you in all at once there. That'd be too much for you. So we'll have a little Deadpool Wolverine at the end.
Take when you're addicted to heroin and you're trying to get off heroin?
Bruce?
Suboxone?
There you go.
Or you're more like old school methadone.
Yeah,
methadone. There you go.
That's the old one.
So
all my people's in the methadone clinics.
This is this 2-month span where 1 month we do the Ryan Reynolds and then the next month we do the Hugh Jackman, where it's like a methadone.
Yes,
it gets you into the new
movie.
phase.
Weaning you in a little bit, as it were, and everything. And we hope that you guys will have a great time with that. And hey, listen, we've had people having a great time on this all this time. So we want you to head on over to patreon.com/HMP and be like those fine people. You get the awesome pre-show, post-show, dinger zone, and get to help build this podcast as well. By the way, the name Half-Ass Movie Podcast, I believe that was Alex, if I'm not mistaken.
It was Alex.
It was Alex.
If anybody's listening for the first time, the first voice you heard was Adam.
Mm-hmm.
Next up was Sean, and my name is Bruce.
And we're just going to do some fun stuff. So I want to thank the people that came up. Derrick is at our number one level here at that Icon $40 level. Derrick, thank you so much, buddy. As well as our good buddy Matt Schnapp, Noah Overton. We got Peter and Jens all coming in at that $20 level. And of course, Rocket Face and everybody else. Thank you guys so much for all of your support over these very many months. And again, you guys are awesome windows into what you guys are looking for and help steer this ship of HMP, and we really appreciate that in all these years and you guys sticking around. So if you'd like to do that and support this show at any level, whatever it is, whatever makes sense to you, put that in a dollar form, send it our way, and get yourself some more content at the exact same time. It's not too shabby. And if you can't do that, you can just email us over at halfasspod@gmail.com.
Hey, that's pretty good.
All I had to do was, just plug into a Gmail.
All right. If I was going to say, if somebody were to put a gun to your head and ask you how many email addresses you now have, could you answer that question, Adam? It's got to be double digits at this point.
Oh yeah, it's probably now that I actively use, probably 4.
Did you notice the head tilt there, Bruce?
Yeah, I
actively use?
Yeah, actively use probably 4 or 5 of them. I would, there's probably a dozen that I've registered at one point or another, at least. Yeah. What can I say? I'm a man who doesn't follow up on a lot of things.
I like to think of it as taking swings at the plate and not getting that hit that you needed.
Oh, and also sometimes you show up to a game where there's no one else playing and you're just at that
is
box,
also true.
Just swinging some stuff around just to see what happens. But you don't get in the best batting practice with no one actively throwing a ball your direction.
I've been there. I've played in that game.
Throwing it up.
How come nobody comes to my birthday party?
We're running around with the bat trying to hit other people's pitches.
I just show up to Little League games and just try to get in the starting
lineup. I don't
lineup.
have money for the batting cage, but I hide. And then I go in and take swings at somebody else's quarter.
Oh, man. All right. So let's get into it. So the first movie that we're going to check out this week, of course, as you can see the art here and everything, is National Lampoon's Van Wilder. This is from 2002. It seems a lot longer away nowadays than I used to have thought 2002 was. But we'll talk.
It's 22 years ago, bro.
That's a bit of a distance, I says.
Yeah.
So let's get
most of DiCaprio's girlfriends weren't even born yet.
Not even close. Here's the IMDb plotline. As we know, IMDb 100% correct in everything they say and or do. The most popular kid on campus meets a beautiful journalist who makes him realize that maybe he's afraid to graduate. That's a really, I mean, it is the plot. Don't get me wrong, but
that is a plot.
It's not super well written, but this movie was written, however, by first-time writers Brent Goldberg and David Wagner. It's directed by Walt Becker, who this was his first thing, and he would also do another movie with Ryan Reynolds and old what's his nuts from Stand By Me. They did a movie but came out about the exact same time. This was the movie that was popular out of those. The movie, of course, is starring Ryan Reynolds, Tara Reid, Kyle Penn, Tim Matheson, Daniel Cosgrove, Tech Holmes, and we also have Booger and Eric Estrada make cameos, which is fun.
Yeah,
Eric Estrada needed the work, I guess.
Listen,
they probably got each guy for a day.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Completely shot him out. Like I because Booger is always in the same spot in this movie.
Yeah, he's got two. He was two shots essentially with him, more or less, right?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they only got Booger for the day, but he hung around for a couple of weeks just for the craft services.
What are you talking about? Curtis Armstrong works all the time.
Yeah,
I know he was hosting. Yeah, he hosted a game show on TBS I watched a few years back. He's a busy guy.
Super busy.
Like him and Wallace Shawn, there's a couple of guys that just are unbelievably always just doing stuff. You can't make them not do stuff, it seems. So let's kind of get into this movie itself and everything. I'd never actually even seen this movie, if I'm honest with you.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I would not have guessed that.
Here's one of the reasons why I believe is so this movie comes out in 2002. In 2002, I'm working in TV news at that point. So my head is buried in all of that, and I'm just about to actually go to film school. So I'm about to have that college experience myself and everything. And I want to get into the differences between my college experience and other things like that, because my guess is mine are quite different than the things that are depicted in this film. Bruce, I know you're a college man.
I'm a college man, but I went to Marshall. I didn't go to the Chickadees of Coolidge. Is that what it is? Named after Calvin Coolidge, this college?
Sure.
Yeah.
But I was 28 when this came out, so I think this was a movie made for 28-year-olds, right?
I think this movie's made for 14-year-olds, but we'll get into it. But so had you seen this movie before? Was it on your radar at any point, Bruce?
Oh, I saw this one. I don't think I saw it in the theater, but it's not out of the realm of possibility. I definitely saw it when it was hot off the presses.
Sean,
I saw this as well. I saw this on DVD, and it was one of those movies where, like, I remember it being one of those movies where everyone's like, well, not everyone, but the marketing was like, you've never seen a raunchier movie like this. This movie makes Animal House look like it's the Care Bears movie, like stuff like that, like that's what all the marketing was.
Yeah.
And the fact of the matter is that, Animal House is trying to say something in their movie.
Yes.
Both National Lampoon movies, but the National Lampoon has
Tim
changed
Matheson movies.
Also true. The Animal House is legitimately trying to say something, whereas this movie is not. They're trying to fool you into thinking they are, but they're not actually saying anything in this movie.
I will say
like
this:
they're very much trying to be the college version of American Pie or something, but it's so unquotable.
Yes.
This movie's surprisingly unquotable for something that's like this. Like, it should at least still have some dumb things that you say and everybody knows, oh, that's from Van Wilder.
Right.
Well, I can tell you this: the writers themselves and many of the people that work on this film, because I purchased the Blu-ray for Van Wilder for this episode, And I watched the featurette and everything, a little EPK kind of action there and everything. They were really proud of the heart of this movie.
Sure.
Very proud of that.
A lot of heart.
They were like, listen, yeah, it's very, there's a lot of jokes and a lot of, funny humor and stuff like that and everything. But at the end of the day, the thing that makes this movie different from like a lot of the other college movies, and the reason that we thought that, that this would be a good one to do here and everything, is that like, there's just a little bit more substance to it. There's a little bit more heart to this thing at the end of the day. And I think that's what we all really connected to. I swear these are all the words that they're saying. It's great.
So Bruce, one of the things that because Adam and I pay closer attention to this kind of thing than you, but is Van Wilder the first time you knew who Ryan Reynolds was?
No, because I watched Two Guys, a Girl, in a Pizza Place.
Aha.
And I mean, I didn't watch it religiously or anything, but he played a medical student on the show when I was in medical school, so I kind of related to him.
Sure, a bit.
I vaguely remember
where
that
he was
show.
A cup man. There was an episode where he was a cup man for a boxer, and I'd always kind of wanted to be a cup man, so that also linked to.
He's just waiting for somebody to say cut me, and then you just cut them. And is that why you got into your profession? Is that you could just cut people?
Well, it's part of it.
All right. At least there's a fringe benefit to it.
People in almost any profession, it's just you get away with it easier in some than others.
That's fair.
The lady who I have chosen to spend my time with, she can't ever remember the name of the TV show he was on, so she just calls it Two Guys in a Pizza Party, which I find
love it.
So endearing.
I at least remember like very vague swaths of Two Guys and Girls in a Pizza Place. First of all, it's a good name. As far as sitcom names go, it's memorable and stuff like that. And so it works. And you had that good thing of you had this cute girl and then two guys, and one of those guys happens to be Ryan Reynolds, and he's doing a pretty decent job. But that's when we get into like this movie and everything, to where I feel like this is like Ryan Reynolds' Flashpoint and everything.
We're
getting too ahead or what?
No. You're right. You're right. This is basically where he becomes a movie star right after this.
Yeah.
But my question about this is, because I've never seen a second of two Guys in a Pizza Party. I've never seen that show. and so I'm wondering, because he is basically like Jim Carrey light in this movie. Like when you're watching his performance in this movie, he's basically doing like a knockoff Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
and so
I could see where you're coming from, but I felt like he's just sort of doing a Ryan Reynolds here. I didn't see that it was that different from what he kind of did in his other early roles, but maybe they're all knockoff Jim Carrey.
Oh, I think that nowadays his delivery system is very different from Jim Carrey. But in this movie specifically, I was like, oh wow, he is like 70% Jim Carrey in this.
The part of me that makes you think like that is when they're walking down, he's got the soup in his hands and he goes through that like just verbal gymnastics for those lines. And it's a walk and talk. It's a walk and talk, and he is banging out these very specific lines about the dance and everything, and with complicated names and stuff. And he's doing it so very well. But that's that vibe that where I pulled from it, exactly like you did, Sean.
He also has that staccato delivery with certain things, or he gives huge facial expressions for certain things, and he does it in a Jim Carrey-ish way. And I think that now he's probably down to like 10% Jim Carrey of his performances, but this performance here, which is why I'm wondering, is he basically the same guy in Two Guys in a Pizza Party versus Van Wilder? Like, is he basically doing the same person?
Very much so, in my opinion. Once again, I only saw a few episodes, but I remember particularly the one where he was a cut man, and he's very Ryan Reynolds. I mean, same as the Blade Trinity performance. If you remember that is, I do. That's exactly the pizza show performance. Mm-hmm. So in this one, they may have tried to push him a little bit in a different direction, or maybe it's like movie role. I'm going to try to do a little different, but I guess this was his first time as a lead. I know he'd been in other stuff on the big screen before this, but I think this was probably the first time he had to carry a movie. I see.
And so, Adam, I'm sorry for cutting you off. Now, let's go.
No, it's all right. I don't even remember what we were.
But this is his flashpoint.
Yeah, this is the big thing. And honestly, like you said, we can kind of hear some of those Ryan Reynolds bits peeking out. Specifically, I hear in ADR.
Yeah.
there's so much ADR in this movie, and a lot of it is his. And I think that probably I don't know this, but like it feels like he might have maybe helped punch up some jokes in post and stuff like that, which is possible. But it feels like more of the Ryan Reynolds personality that we've come to know and love in a lot of those little kind of ADR moments where it sounds more like Ryan Reynolds today than it did in Ryan Reynolds 2002, if that makes sense.
Sure. No, it does. Totally.
And I believe that was really Ryan Reynolds' butt in the scene where we see
it totally is his butt. Yeah. Because he even turns around.
In Deadpool, and it's the same butt. I never forget a butt. I'm not good with faces, but I never forget man butt.
He turns around, so you know it's him for real. They're not doing facial. They're not doing any facial like hardware on Ryan Reynolds in 2002. That's for sure.
And certainly not with a movie with this budget, which I imagine is just pennies.
Which brings me to this.
It says $5 million on IMDb as the estimated budget,
and it's not like it made a ton of money. It made what saved this movie is the DVD and like home market.
It brought it up even better though, because U.S. gross $21 million, worldwide 38. Not too shabby for this movie.
Yeah, it's
not
still
bad.
Almost 8 times its budget, so not bad.
Yeah. I mean, not bad at all. For sure, not bad at all.
But you're right. DVD is where this thing blew up.
I mean, that's really where it exploded.
Nothing I've done ever cleared 30 mil.
So that, which brings me to this. And Adam, I know you already know this story, but Bruce, do you know Bert Kreischer's thoughts on this movie?
I don't know his thoughts.
Can I say this? Because I never actually read the article that supposedly this movie's based upon.
I've got some good news for you, buddy, because one of your co-hosts did.
Well, I read some.
It wasn't me.
I read some of it, and first of all, not well written, that article. Just how many times can you spin some wheels and say the same bloody thing over and over? Too long. Can I say that? Too long. The article too long. It's like, what am I looking at? War and Peace here? Tell me, like, and all it is like people recognize this guy, and he parties a whole bunch. Okie doke.
But Bruce, you do know the story behind this?
I mean, movie? I know that Bert Kreischer is the inspiration for Van Wilder. That's all I know.
So these are the facts. This isn't what Bert Kreischer thinks. Like, these are the facts of this movie, Van Wilder. So Rolling Stone goes to FSU. Do you know this part so far?
I know that he went to Florida State University, yes, and that there was a Rolling Stone article about him, but I haven't read the article or anything like that.
So FSU is going to do this article on Rolling Stone's going to do this article on FSU because it had come out that earlier that year that FSU was the biggest party school in America. So they send a Rolling Stone reporter down to FSU to like do a campus thing. And so the reporter's going around for a couple of days, and every single time this reporter asks like who's the biggest partier on campus, Bert Kreischer's name keeps coming up over and over and over again. And so the reporter starts spending more and more time with Kreischer. And so and starts like staying at Kreischer's in Kreischer's house or dorm or wherever he is. Because he had been there for 6.5 years at FSU.
Yeah.
And so the reporter is spending time with Bert. Reporter goes back home with notes to Rolling Stone in New York. Editor at Rolling Stone says, you don't have an article about FSU. You have an article about Bert Kreischer. So there's your article. Write that article. And so they do. He writes this article about Bert, the biggest partier at the biggest party school. And that comes out, that article comes out as Bert had moved to New York already to try stand-up comedy already. And within like a month of him moving to New York, the article comes out. And Bert blows up instantly. Like, Oprah's calling him for interviews. Like 2020's calling him for interviews. Like, everybody wants an interview with him. Oliver Stone ends up optioning the story for a movie.
That's funny.
That's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
So did he direct this?
Oliver Stone? No. A TV hack did.
We're going to get there. So hold on.
Okay.
So he is right. Like he's now, Bert is somehow in like this limbo of we're working on this project. You've got this option between, the reporter and Bert. Like there's some money that's being exchanged. And while Bert is doing stand-up comedy in New York, Will Smith sees him and says, "Hey, I want to make a TV show with this guy." So now Bert Kreischer, within the first year of him being a stand-up comic, which Adam, I know you love that more than anything.
I love when they get to success right away and never had to earn it. Love it.
You love it. So Bert Kreischer now has a movie deal and a TV deal with Will Smith. Will Smith is like, "Hey, I just heard that you have this option for a movie about you. What's going on? Like, I thought we were making a TV show. Why don't we just make this movie together?" But Oliver Stone won't give him the option. And so like a little bit more time goes by. The option drops. Will Smith drops. And it kind of just evaporates. Like everything evaporates like within year 2 of Bert in New York. And this movie comes out, Van Wilder, which looks remarkably like what they were working on for Oliver Stone's screenplay. And he's like, "Yeah, they changed my name, but they didn't even bother to change my best friend's name from the article in the movie. Like it's even his name. Like it's the
guy
same
that
name
plays.
Yes. And so as time moves on, like Bert doesn't want anyone to know that Van Wilder, like he wants his friends to know, but he doesn't want it public that Van Wilder was based on him because people are going to forget about the Rolling Stone article. And so years and years and years go by. And basically just before his movie came out last year, The Machine, he lets loose that Van Wilder was based on him in the Rolling Stone article. And everybody kind of goes crazy because I'd been following Bert for a long time at this point. And I couldn't believe it. Like it was so shocking to me because it is. I mean, it literally, the Van Wilder movie is based on Bert Kreischer.
The way that I learned it was based on Bert Kreischer is he had some little show on Netflix where he like went to a cabin and he would invite other comedians to come and spend the night with him in his cabin.
Mm-hmm.
And they would just talk about stuff. And I think maybe it was Bobby Lee was there and he was talking about, did you know that I was Van Wilder? And that's when I heard the whole story.
Oh, so he's still not, according to him, he's never seen the movie like in full. He's seen clips, of course, because you can't live your life without having seen a couple of clips from this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But like and when asked, "Are you ever going to see it?" he says, "The only way I'm ever going to watch this movie is if I watch it with Ryan Reynolds."
First of all, my guess is never going to watch that movie because I can't imagine Ryan Reynolds wanting to sit and watch this movie today. Because like we like the guy. I'm not going to sit here. We're not dumping on him. This is his lesser work.
Yes, agreed.
Yeah, like I said, for a movie, just compare it to a movie that came out like 2-3 years later. Waiting, just totally different quality. It's what this movie could have been if it maybe had a little more clever writing to it or something.
Well, he still, even in certain scenes, he still kind of looks like a baby in this movie.
Yes, he does.
He's
that sweet little baby bottom.
He definitely has to grow into that face for sure. It's just like he's so much better looking now. I'm so glad to be a man on so many occasions where it's just like we age like fine wine over here. We just get better looking as we get older. It's thank you, God. Thank you for that one.
Unfortunately, I age like that kid from Terminator 2.
Hey, listen, we all can't hit a home runs.
Oh, you've got Furlong's disease, bro?
Do I look different? That's what I ask people.
You don't look like you're on that much meth, Bruce. Come on. Eddie, I know you're getting sober, and that's good. Good for you. I applaud. It's good.
Get the clean.
But yeah, it's so early Ryan Reynolds, you can just kind of it's the infancy of the thing that we would see. And that's what, to me, is ultimately the fun with this movie, is just kind of seeing him on that precipice of doing something great. And I think that's also part of the problem of this movie. There are so many scenes that look like they were the first take. They were like that they haven't quite warmed up yet. They're not ready for the day and everything. Like when he's giving the speech to the basketball team and everything, that felt like, okay, that was a good first pass. Let's try this 2 or 3 more times so we can get the rhythm really good, and like your facial expressions can be right on all the particulars and everything like that, and maybe the team can be into it a little bit. I don't know, but like you could actually direct that scene. It feels like they had zero time to do that, and they were just like, okay, that's good enough. Let's keep moving.
Part of the problem with that scene might be that none of those basketball players are actors, right? Weren't they all real basketball players?
Probably, but here's the problem with that, though, and again, where this movie has a little bit of a oopsie daisy here at the end, is we show the outtakes and stuff where, guess what, people are having fun, and we ain't having that much fun while we're watching the movie. But I had more fun laughing at the outtakes at the end than I did the movie itself, and that's not a good sign for a film.
Do you want to talk about the hearing impaired basketball coach at all?
Yeah, let's because
oh my God, there's so many.
Are you kidding me? There's like, you point a finger and you're going to point to a problematic and here's the thing. I don't even like using that phrase, but you know,
I thought that the edginess was like the extreme 90s edginess that we all were going for was starting to die out by 2002. But I guess this movie was clinging to it.
No,
it's hard. It's still very steady in 2002.
I mean, when you first meet Taj, there's the Indian music is playing. It's like,
yep.
What are we doing?
Sitar action in the background. Oof.
I could not imagine introducing my kids and their high school friends to this movie now. You know what I mean? It would not go over well.
No.
Or it would go over too well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no in between.
Or it would go over too well. They'd be like, no, we've been doing it all wrong. Van Wilder's the direction we should be headed. God, guys, we've been really messing up.
We got to take it back. We're going to take it back.
We're going back to the good old salad days of 2002, where we can make fun of a deaf man for just.
And I guess when you're in the entertainment world, a check is a check, and maybe you just want to get out there. But did Kal Penn feel good about this?
Kal Penn doesn't feel good about most of the roles he's been in, as according to Kal Penn. So,
I think that he needed the check to get his foot in the door. Right, he needed to get it in the door, and it did. I mean, it worked.
It's a decent sized role. Got a SAG card. Got some money.
I mean, one could argue though, if he doesn't have this film, he doesn't get Harold and Kumar.
There's no way he does. There's literally no way he gets that movie without.
And Ryan Reynolds doesn't get his cameo in Harold and Kumar if he doesn't make this film with Kal Penn.
Yeah. But it's like, and that movie is so good for both of those actors, and I love Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle so much. Such a great little fun film.
The person whose career owes the most to Harold and Kumar has got to be NPH, but that's a story for another.
Without a doubt.
Yeah.
But the person who I think is doing the best job in this movie isn't Ryan Reynolds, although he's not bad in this. Like it feels like he's figuring things out. Yes, he's stealing a lot from Jim Carrey, but so were most white guys in the early 2000s.
He was the biggest thing.
He can't steal from Chris Farley. I mean, he doesn't have the right body type for that. So you got to do what you got to do.
But the person who's really doing a tremendous job in this movie is the guy who plays the bad guy, the actor.
Yes.
Daniel Cosgrove.
Yeah.
He's got that Stifler energy going through him.
Cosgrove, Daniel Cosgrove, the actor, like that's the actor's name. He is so good in this movie that it feels like somebody said to him, "We want a new take on what a bully is." And he's like, "Got it, boss. No problem." And he completely kills it. You see like variations of this kind of bad guy, or like school bully, but this is so different of a bully. It's just so good.
And it's so weird too, because the bully is the nerd and the cool kid is the one who's being bullied. Like, it doesn't make sense in terms of how you like the formula you use for in Revenge of the Nerds, it wasn't the nerds who were the bullies. You know what I mean? But that's how it is here.
Right.
He's got good grades. He's got some social awkwardness and stuff, and yet he's the bully. and then Van Wilder, who absolutely everyone loves all the time. Like if you watch this through a different lens, it's like the thing where Daniel LaRusso's the actual villain of Karate Kid.
Right.
You can almost see like Van
Right.
Wilder coming in and ruining this guy's life who just wants to go to medical school and help people.
Well, in many ways, that is what happens in this film.
Yes.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
you know, that's exactly what goes for.
It's not even like the bully is a rich kid and Van Wilder's from the wrong side of the tracks. Van Wilder's even richer than the bully.
Yeah, he's richer than the rich kid. That's the most hilarious part of it all. It's like, no, my dad's just paying for all of this. Who cares? Yes. He's having Daniel Cosgrove is having a lot of fun, and when you see the behind the scenes stuff and everything, he was really happy to have this role. I think he had a lot of fun with what he did and everything, and so of all the people, I think he probably enjoyed this the most.
And for somebody who came out of reality TV, I think Peck does a competent job as an actor. A lot of times you got to worry about, like, you know, somebody's just famous from Road Rules and Real World, and you put him in a movie, what's going to happen? I thought he did fine.
Yeah.
Who are you talking about?
The blonde-haired person of color, Tech.
His
real name is
buddy.
Tech. I don't know what his character's name is.
Hutch,
yeah.
Yeah, no, he's fine for what little bit they have to do. It's like he's one of those characters that you're just like, feels like we could have a little bit more of something with him. You know, he's got the bong scene is funny enough, I guess, for what it is. You know, that's his moment to shine in this whole. Well, no, the dog thing. The dog. He says people still come up to him to this day and ask him about, hey, was you really doing that to the dog?
Yeah, of course he wasn't.
I mean, that's all anyone is ever going to remember really about this movie. I mean, yes, it's Ryan Reynolds' first big leading role, one, but two, if you remember anything about this movie, it's the pastry scene. I mean, it's literally the only thing I could remember having had seen this movie, 22 years ago.
How is Tara Reid's performance?
She has nothing to do, which is actually helpful for her because there's no range for her.
You don't
right?
want to give her smart talking parts in this to, like, I don't know, like a soliloquy about the ethics of blah, 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 or whatever. You don't need any of that. Like, it's not, it wouldn't be her strong suit. She does okay. Like, I feel like I could maybe stretching credulity a little bit as a newspaper gal, but maybe.
No.
I said stretching credulity.
Like she's cast intentionally to try to catch some of that American Pie audience.
Well, yeah, of course.
Because anything that has semen in a pastry, you're going to think of American Pie.
Tara Reid's agent just goes, excuse me, what have you written there? I believe my client needs an offer.
I think of her as being pretty terrible because all I think of are the Sharknado movies, but she wasn't as bad as I remembered her in this movie.
Well, I mean, she has she's in that same lane that Keanu Reeves was in the 90s, where, like, you can't give him an accent, you can't give him smart dialogue, you just got to give him this thing, and he's totally fine when you're giving him this thing. I know this sounds sacrilegious now because he's like Jesus too, but like he's not an amazing actor. Even now, he's not an amazing actor. He's just great in these movies that he's in because they know, and he knows his own lane, right? He's like, look, you don't want to give me too many lines where I'm supposed to be a smart person. Don't make me a lawyer because I walk like a surfer, all of these things. And so with her, it's you don't make her a reporter for anybody, for anything.
It'd be like taking Denise Richards and trying to make her a physicist.
Well,
are you kidding me? Christmas Jones was the best scientist ever put to celluloid. How dare you?
Perfect example. And so, just thinking on those lines where, like, she's totally fine in this because she doesn't need to do anything more than just be the girl who eventually is going to be Van Wilder's girlfriend.
She's a cipher for the story. She's the helpful through line of all of this.
I mean, she's a pretty face. Say what you will about her. She's a pretty face.
Yes, she is.
At least then, I don't know. She's maybe had some issues since then. I don't know how she's held up. But
I will say
she's
that
fine.
I love
I
how
haven't seen her since Sharknado, so I just don't know.
The late 90s, early 2000s. I talked to Bruce about this the other day. It's like the amount of skinny people that we got, unbelievable. Oh, What a world we used to live in. We're all so fat now. We see Tara Reid is just the thinnest little stick, and at the end with just like I mean, we're an inch away from the ground floor.
I love where I live because the only guys out there are fat guys. So I see like hot girls with fat guys all the time, and it makes me feel good about myself.
And I'm proud to be an American. But she's serviceable in this movie, but
totally,
it's fine. I
remembered her being awful in this movie, and she's not awful. But I wanted to ask you guys what you think, because sometimes I'm just wrong.
Oh, I forgot that your boy from That Thing You Do is in this bad boy as the guy who works at the newspaper there. Yeah.
I'll tell you what shocked me was that Wolowitz from Big Bang Theory was
Simon Helberg is in this. Yeah. Aaron Paul is in this movie.
That's where I was going.
Woo! Aaron Paul was in that that weird DC thing. What was it? The Birds of Prey. He was in that weird DC Birds of Prey TV show that we watched years back.
Oh wow! And then you got the kid from Major Payne in it.
The kid from Major Payne.
He was in Major Payne, and he was in American Pie. That kid was in a whole bunch of things.
The Shermanator's in it.
Yeah, Chris Owen.
The Shermanator.
That's a guy.
Definitely trying to catch the American Pie audience with this.
Well, listen, it was those movies were gigantically huge hits and everything, and they were like, how can we repurpose this formula and everything?
They also didn't age quite so well.
No, not quite as well. I don't know that this is going up on any timeless classics lists by any stretch of the imagination.
I checked AFI's top 100 and it didn't crack it.
Wait a minute. Did you check the AFI top 100 comedy? Because that's a little bit more specific, because there's 100 comedies. We weed out all the other junk that nobody needs. Did it make 100 comedy, I wonder? Maybe not. No.
If Strange Brew ain't number one on that list, I ain't looking at that list.
No, it's been a long time, but I felt like Midnight Run or something was the top of that list.
That's a pretty good one.
Not a bad one.
Midnight Run's pretty funny.
Any surprises in this movie? Anything that caught you off guard? For me, it was just like how close that Ryan Reynolds was to becoming the Ryan Reynolds that we know. At this point, you can just see that germ in there. I didn't expect to see quite as much of that as we did in this role.
It kind of surprised me that they didn't take a few more low-hanging fruit jokes about the fact that you got Matheson from Animal House in this, so try to make some kind of reference. Well, we wouldn't even believe what happened when I was in, something like that. They had Mess with the Bull, you get the horns, and they didn't have him doing anything that was a callback to Breakfast Club.
Right.
I feel like the latter day, hanging on by a thread in name only National Lampoon productions were always looking for that low hanging fruit.
Yeah, that was surprising. You're right to bring that up. That because if this movie were made today, they absolutely would it would feel like a real missed opportunity to the studio.
You're gonna have Booger picking his nose or burping or something. Yeah, you're gonna
all of that stuff.
All that, yeah.
And none of that is here. And also kind of surprising to me, because this is 2002, where it's not unusual to see a 40-year-old man in college in movies of this era, and they do a pretty good job of it here, where every so often there'll be somebody where you're like, well, that person is 45 years old. There's not a ton of that in this movie, which I was kind of bummed by, to be honest with you. That's one of my secret joys of watching movies and TV shows about school is 2002, you're an idiot.
And I remember when I watched this in 2002, one of the few things I do remember about it is thinking well, Tommy Boy already did the guy who was in college for 7 years and got kicked out. And thinking that Tommy Boy was probably a better movie. I don't know how you guys feel about.
Oh, Tommy Boy is 10 times the movie that this thing is. Come on,
just want to make sure I wasn't an outlier there. I didn't want to step on anybody's toes.
The movie with all the ideas. That movie there, the one that everyone quotes always,
as opposed to this movie, quotable. Which is just vignette city.
It's only been less than 14 days since I said fat guy in a little coat. So yes.
It feels like they just cobbled together a bunch of fun and interesting, cute ideas. I'm doing scare quotes around all of those words, and then just kind of try to weave in. It's not like Kentucky Fried Movie. Don't put it on that neighborhood or anything. But they're like
43 to be seen next week, right?
Yeah, it's probably closer to that than it is to like Kentucky Fried. But there's like, here's a little thing, here's a little joke, and then like here's the penis pump joke, here's the dog balls joke, here's it's like and they set up these specific little scenes and stuff. And the worst part is not a damn one of them's funny.
And I did remember the Japanese seamstress joke, but I did not remember that that's how the film opens. Like, it really gets you against this movie from the beginning. It's
not even, you can make that funny. It feels like that's not funny, but it's not funny.
Well, you got to do
presented
it.
Bad.
Like, that's how you make it funny.
Yeah.
Like, that's literally how you make that funny, because in no universe is that actually happening.
What?
Yes, the opening scene of your movie. There's no way. The only thing, and it sounds ridiculous, I know. The only thing that would have made me go, well, now we got a movie. This is the weirdest opening to a movie I've ever seen in my life. That's like a major studio movie. You got to actually do it, but they don't.
It felt very Austin Powers, and something that it doesn't have Austin Powers in it.
Yeah, there were a couple of swipes that definitely felt like, oh, we're going to bring back some of that Austin Powers vibe, like going into the art class and stuff. Now, I will say, surprisingly, that was one of the more accurate points about this movie when you compare it to the actual Burt Kreischer bit and everything. Burt Kreischer also quite naked on many occasions, it appears.
True.
So Ryan Reynolds, this is all very apropos.
Ryan Reynolds loses his pants, Kreischer loses his shirt.
Well, listen, and so we got the naked run and all that, and then with the the hiding the junk behind the thing at the art class and all that stuff. So I don't think Burt quite looked like that when he took his shirt off.
I was going to say, I like it when it's cool when Kreischer does it, because he's trying to promote some body positivity. Ryan Reynolds does it, and it makes me glad my shirt's still on.
Do you really think that's why he does it?
Yeah, body positivity.
He does it because he has no shame, and it gets a laugh.
That's what I think.
I think
I use the phrase "game recognized game" when I talk about that sort of thing.
To me, the hardest part about all that, and what I would consider if I was in his particular shoes specifically, is the gold chains and stuff getting caught up in your neck hairs and stuff, and all that chest. I couldn't. That's just seems scary to me.
Just to let you know the difference between me and Bert, though. At home by myself in my own private pool, I still don't take my shirt off sometimes.
Oh, yeah, listen, you got to keep that dignity. But
I burn easily.
But yeah, I wish the movie was more fun than it is, but it is, like I said, it tends to be these little vignettes and stuff that they put together and loosely form a story around there. And I think the biggest problem is that when they were starting this movie, and they say this in the behind the scenes stuff, is that they were not sure what this movie was going to be rated when they were doing it and everything. They were just like, are we going to do it in R? They felt like they wanted to do that, but at the same time, too, it's like PG-13 was just not there. And so they just did not commit one way or the other to, a large direction either way. You needed to be an R, but they didn't lean into the R, at least like they should have, I think.
But also, there's enough here that if you catch the MPAA on the wrong day, this is an NC-17.
No, it's not that bad. Come
Maybe
on.
not in 2002. The semen inside of the eclairs and how it looks dripping down their chins. And
anyone
stuff,
else
dude.
think that was that seemed like?
I mean, you've seen not yet rated. This film is not yet rated.
Yeah. No, I get you. Did that feel like a Mallrats ripoff to anybody else?
Oh, because of the chocolate.
That just felt like
the stink palm.
Yeah, it felt like a different version of that. I was like, oh, these are great chocolate pretzels you got here. I thought that was almost not apey, a little apey. I thought
I had not put that together before, but
Once again,
that is a lot like it.
This is when Tara Reid would have popped up in the modern version and said, "Wow, a guy I went to high school with did that in an apple pie." Really just call it out.
Oh, please don't be doing all of that. That would be the worst.
Did you laugh at any point during this movie?
A couple of times.
There's a couple of laughs, but they're few and far between.
I didn't dislike it. I mean, I wasn't like unhappy watching it or anything. I was entertained, but I don't think I actually laughed.
Yeah,
I'm pretty easy to make laugh.
That's true. Bruce laughs at anything, people.
It has a lot. It has a lot of ground to gain after the first 20 minutes of this movie, because it's so of the time. Where you're making fun of every type of handicap and every sort of ethnicity and
not in a funny way. That's the worst part. Right. They're not even funny. If they were funny, it would be a different category, but they're so wildly unfunny that it makes you mad. It's like, man, if you're going to, denigrate people and just, for God's sake, make it funny.
Yeah, do something new. Do something we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
What got the best reaction from me is the first guy he interviews to be his new assistant, the cheerleader.
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah, he said, I'm the first male cheerleader at Huntington High. So I'm like, hey, Huntington High. That's where my kids go.
It's like saying, I'm like, Bruce getting a shout out on this movie, man. That's pretty sweet.
It was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
I like Derrick Estrada adjusting his hair. He's always funny.
That was like, I feel like Derrick Estrada put that in himself. He's
of course he did.
And then I'm going to move my hair all fake. Like,
of course he did.
That's what he does when he needs to kill at a party. Like if he wants to make people laugh, that's what he does. He's like, oh, this is a comedy. Wait till you get a load of what I got up my sleeve.
Oh, Eric. That's what the in every end. Oh, Eric. That's the end of all those interactions with him.
It's so funny to see him in something like this when he had that really great cameo in Fallout earlier this year.
Yeah, so good.
He's so good in that. And you're like, oh, right. He's been doing these one-offs for 40 years.
Yeah, I just love it.
Happens to be the best one that it's the best one he's ever done. So
he came to our local comic book convention this summer, along with the guy who played John from Chips. And it's like gigantic line. They had to put Derrick Estrada and John together at the same table because I don't even know John's real name. You know what I mean? It's called.
I believe it's John Wilcox.
Okay, they had to put him at the same table, or else there was going to be a big long Derrick Estrada line, and everybody else is like, "Who's that white guy over there?"
You put him at the end of the line once everybody's paid for their stuff with him, and then you go like, "Hi, oh, I guess since I'm here."
You put their immediate superior at the same table. Now you got Chris Pine's dad sitting right next to Derrick Estrada. And
I didn't know that
John.
was Chris Pine's dad.
Yeah,
but I can see it now that you say it. I can see it. I know who you're talking about, and I did not know that was Chris Pine's dad.
Yeah, our main villain Daniel Cosgrove looks like he could be his brother as well.
Yeah,
they got a very similar
Miranda
look.
Cosgrove's father.
Is that right?
I doubt it.
That'd be interesting if it would be. That probably the math don't math on that. I don't think.
I don't know how old either of them are. He could have been 40 in this movie and just really good shape.
Go ahead.
So let's shift gears here for a second.
Mm-hmm.
So, this is a big Ryan Reynolds vehicle, right? He kind of parlays this into a career that we're still talking about right now. He had enough juice that he actually got Deadpool, the movie, off the ground basically by himself in order to make that movie, right? Because he makes that short first with his buddy.
And leaking it to everybody and just going like, oopsie doodle. Mm-hmm.
Oh, I can't believe I let this out. Sorry, everybody. Like, just really smart. Let me get to my point here.
I apologize.
So if you are his agent, what do you give him as the next thing that he needs to do?
Ultimately, I would try. Your agent's just going to say do another Van Wilder. I hate to say that, but like that feels like what the agent would automatically do. It's like, this is starting to go good. Like you said, a $20 million versus a $5 million budget and everything. It feels like this guy's going to have a little bit of juice behind him here and everything. I think as your agent in 2002, I'm probably going to tell you need to do more of the same. But that's a mistake. But that's what his agent I would tell him to do. And that's like I said, I'm aware that's a mistake.
I think if I'm the agent, I'm going to say hold out for a big paycheck. This might be the only big paycheck you get. I would probably be cynical and think he just caught a little lightning in a bottle. He needs to capitalize on it, put that money in a mutual fund, and then he'll be set.
Diversify.
Look, just whatever the next offer, just whatever the most money is, get it and save it all, because not everybody gets a hit.
He's got the weird thing too. I noticed in this viewing that he's got the same thing that I call the Bill Murray syndrome, where he can say incredibly mean things and you still like him anyway.
Mm-hmm. And
that is super, super rare. There's not many people who can do that.
I got it. Listen, I'm not going to, again, not look back at the history, not a horn tooter over here. I say stuff at work that there's zero reason that anybody should get away with saying. I'm being nice, but I'm saying some stuff that's a little bit off the kill. So I have a little bit of that, I think, not as much as Mr. Ryan Reynolds. I'll give you that one. But I have an ability to say some things in front of people that for some reason or another, I get forgiven for it. So I got a little taste of that myself.
So Sean,
hold
between
on,
me and you, do you think he really gets forgiven for it?
No, because I know too many people that can't stand Adam Borges.
No. I'm not those people.
One, because he gives off maybe one of the worst first impressions of a human being I've ever met in my life. He has the worst first impressions. And two, there are people who are like still to this day angry with you over something that you said like 10 years ago.
All those people are babies.
I don't think that you're really getting away with. Maybe age has made you better at that.
I think it has.
Okay, good. But when we would interact amongst the public together for let's be charitable and say that happened for 5 years.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I would say you were not great at that during that time.
No, I probably would agree with that statement.
Okay.
Now, today, though, for example, like I would have a lady who came in. She was trying to
give an example.
No, she was just trying to get some stuff. And all I said was just like, we didn't plan out anything today, did we? That's it. And she laughed and said, no, I didn't. But that's how I got away with it. I said something of like, you came here today and you didn't plan on any of this stuff. And she giggled at it. And like, you shouldn't say that to a customer. You shouldn't be able to get away with it. But I did, and she laughed. That's my point. Things like that.
Oh.
I got 100% satisfaction in customer service. That's all I'm going to say. I'll just put that on the table and leave it there for everybody.
People love me.
They do.
People do love you, Adam Portress.
Thank you.
So, Sean, real quick, do you know where Branford, Connecticut is?
Branford? No.
That's where Daniel Cosgrove grew up. So I didn't know if maybe it was like a town that you were familiar with or not. Because
my guess is
in Connecticut.
Branford Beavers are tough.
It's probably west of the Connecticut River. It's like the nicer part. It's where people who work in New York live.
Yeah, he was born in New Haven, if that helps. I don't know.
That is helpful because that's east of the Connecticut River, and I know where New Haven is.
Yeah, I know Yale is in New Haven. That's about all I know.
That's true. It's the only part.
I have no idea like how far is New Haven from Hartford. I couldn't tell you. Can you walk from one to the other? I don't know.
About 20 minutes.
Oh, so it's closer together than I thought.
Yes.
Now, there are 878 National Lampoon movies. Is National Lampoon's Van Wilder the last good National Lampoon movie?
I can't remember. I can't remember another one.
I looked at the list.
Uh-huh.
I looked at the list, and the closest thing to something you might have even thought about watching was Christmas Vacation 2, Eddie's Island Getaway. I've seen that one.
But
that's terrible, though.
Why did you see that?
I have no idea. It was probably Christmas time. And it was like, oh, well, we've watched every other Christmas movie. Let's check this new one out.
All right.
But
spoiler alert for next week's episode, but I'll tell you something about that in a minute.
But anywho, this was the last one that anybody would have watched on purpose. They made two other Van Wilder movies. I don't know if you guys knew that. They made a sequel and a prequel. So they made The Rise of Taj, which I guess is a Kal Penn vehicle. I didn't bother to look at the cast.
They didn't lean more into the Taj Mahal thing. I was surprised about that.
And then the other one is a prequel, which is about his freshman year at college. But they obviously aren't getting Ryan Reynolds for that one, so I couldn't imagine why anybody would want to watch it.
No. For me,
that thing's got to look like it was shot for like Disney Channel.
This was the last notable one I think that they would make, but I would say just before this, I'm going to give a slight nod. It's not an amazing movie, but it is a better movie than this. National Lampoon's Vegas Vacation. That's a better movie than this. I got way more laughs in that movie than this movie.
It's got a bigger budget. I'd say it's got.
You've got better actors,
stars in it. Yeah,
mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it. Better than this. I don't know, man.
Oh yeah, totally. It's totally better than this. Come on.
It's quotable. You know, I do remember stuff from it, so that's more than I could say about Van Wilder.
Yeah, I mean, like you got all the like jokes about how the kids are changing and everything, and you got the whole dam scene. That's fun stuff.
Yeah, I love like the dirt casino, like the casino for poor people that they go into that has a game like flip a coin, pick a number between.
There's
1
some
and 10.
ideas and thoughts and stuff in that. It's like it's the stuff that this movie is missing. This movie's got some ideas and stuff, but they're never realized.
Russ is like Armin Tanzarian or something. He gets a fake ID and he wins Lamborghinis and stuff at the casino.
Oh man, that was a dream of mine.
Winning a Lamborghini in a casino?
Just winning anything big like that, just to kind of have that sort of like, oh crap, how am I going to get this thing home kind of thing. I don't know. Those are those guys. I dream big, I tell you. And let's ultimately get down to it. As far as a Ryan Reynolds movie goes, and do we recommend this? What do you think?
Well, who do you want to go first here?
Let's go with you, Bruce. You seem to be the biggest Ryan Reynolds guy here. I don't know why I said that.
I can't recommend it. Like, if you've already seen it, then you don't need my recommendation. If you haven't seen it before, 2024 is not the year to watch this for the first time. It just isn't. So I don't recommend it to anybody who hasn't already seen it. And then what's the point of recommending it to somebody who has seen it? Because they know for themselves if they like it or not.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a no, but it's not like I didn't enjoy it. I don't want people to think like this is my style of humor. Like, I don't want to be judged by recommending this.
You don't want the special super 4K edition Blu-ray to have a quote that says, Bruce Leslie, this one's awesome as hell. You know, you don't want that to put on the box. Don't need that.
Yes, exactly.
Sean, what do you think?
I have the same problem that I think everyone else has when they see this movie in 2024. Not homophobic enough.
Yeah, they need to lean more into that. But here's the thing, and again, I say if you're gonna do it, at least make it funny. Ain't none of these jokes funny.
Well, that's the thing, right? It's all half measures.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of the problem with this movie altogether, is that they're like, oh, that's right, we went there. It's like, did you though? Not really.
Yeah, it's like you almost did. You brought up the subject, and then you just kind of left it dangling. It's like, we did a joke, didn't we? No, you didn't. As a matter of fact, you only got a premise.
I feel like they said, there are stereotypes about these people, but then they didn't tell you what those stereotypes are. It's like, we're going to the all black fraternity, so they're black and they have black stereotypes. All right, let's move on.
Yeah. Oh, that's all we thought of, really. We were under a tight deadline.
They wear sunglasses indoors.
There is so many moments where, like, I think if we go another 20 years and watch this movie again, it's going to be hilarious all over again because it's like watching something from the 30s that's like just like super racist.
Yeah, you're like, oh, like, wow.
and it makes me laugh so hard because it's like everybody thought this was fine. That's the thing that makes me laugh so hard. Like, this went through a committee of people in order to make this thing, and everybody's like, yeah, that's how we do it. Yeah, Tom and Jerry's made. That's how they talk, right?
The Judy Garland and Mickey Rooney in blackface singing, and you go, people paid money for this,
and people and like no one had a problem with it.
They were like, no, we want it. That's hilarious.
With
that's
the exception of black people, but I mean, like all the white people were like, oh man, consummate performers. Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Mickey.
The racism doesn't bother. Well, yes, it does bother me. But what
no,
really
it doesn't. You're super racist. We all know it.
Some of those old Shirley Temple movies were also like nobody thought we don't want a burlesque scene with a 4-year-old.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, some of that's pretty creepy too.
It's a weird.
That is creepy.
As far as recommendations for me, here's what I'm going to recommend to you, because our boy Van Wilder is, he's all over the place. He feels like he's trying to have a heart of gold, at least attempting to in some ways. Let me shift you to a better movie than that. It goes back a few years as far as not college, but back into high school. Watch Rushmore. Rushmore's a better movie than this.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Same basic sort of ideas and stuff. Go watch Rushmore.
Do you think somebody was going to argue with you about that?
No,
Adam?
no, I don't. I'm making recommendations. I'm recommending that you watch Rushmore as opposed to this film. If you want to watch a good film about a guy who's like, a slacker yet overachiever at the exact same time, but you want the movie to be good, watch Rushmore.
There's no jaw-dropping stereotypes used for comedy in that movie. What are you talking about? That's not funny.
You're right. Ryan, we owe you an apology.
One of my favorite jokes that I used very many times in my life is, why are you wearing your pajamas at dinner? These aren't pajamas. These are OR scrubs. Oh, are they?
Good stuff.
Boy, you don't know how many times in the operating room I've broken that one out.
I would imagine 1,000,000,001.
Yeah.
I mean, knowing you? Come on.
Yeah.
Now, if Sean said that on a daily basis, I'd say that's odd and bizarre for you to say those things. You, however, I go, sounds about right. As a matter of fact, I would be more surprised if you didn't.
Must go to joke 5.
He's flipping through the note cards. He's trying to get to the good one. Which one of these do they like?
Joke 12.
None of these are working.
Reference B.
Hit him with that tagline, Bruce. All right, so that is it for this inaugural episode of Half-Ass Movie Podcast, Volume 2, Episode 1. Bruce, where can we find more of your work on the internet? Are you out there? What are you doing?
You can go to YouTube and look for me, Bruce Leslie, Anime Dad. If you like old reviews of anime, old reactions to anime, go check out the stuff I used to do about a year and a half
Werewolf
ago.
Fighters back up, though, yeah?
Werewolf Fighters back up, and one of these days I'm probably going to put up my Werewolf Fighters special features video that I made, the behind the scenes and stuff. But I'm sitting on that gold for maybe the 1 year anniversary of Werewolf Fighter.
Yeah, put out that 4K for us, okay? Appreciate that.
The box set.
Sean, what else?
So it's here, boys.
Oh my goodness. I can't believe how fast it's actually coming.
Yeah.
I'm kind of crying a little bit.
Yeah.
Next week,
Lordy,
is our new podcast, 30 Questions, The Acolyte, where we will be asking 30 questions to the new Star Wars show, The Acolyte, that is on Disney Plus.
and it's going to be good because one of its stars knows so much about Star Wars. Did you see this?
Man, look.
Oh my word.
I don't want to.
No.
The only thing that really gave me hope was when they were interviewing the director or maybe the showrunner. And the reporter asks the director or showrunner of the show, how do you think Star Wars fans, like diehard fans, what do you think they're going to think of this show? And she said, I don't care.
Oh boy.
And I was like,
wow.
that's the first time in a long time I've heard anyone say that.
Hey,
from Star Wars.
at least you're honest.
That's what I like about it.
At least you go like, I don't care what you think. We're going to put something out, and maybe that's what they need. I don't know. We're certainly going to find out on the Acolyte 30 Questions. So check that out wherever you find podcasts, man. We appreciate you guys. That is it. Next week, we're going over to Bruce for his selection for Ryan Reynolds movies. Bruce, what do you got for us this time?
Just friends, people that are patrons know that we had a little fat suit discussion going on with Amy Sedaris. Well, we get a little Ryan Reynolds fat suit discussion next week.
Listen, if there's somebody in a big old giant fat suit, you know sure and well that that's going to be on the top of Bruce Leslie's list of things that we got to do. So Just Friends is that one. So
I wanted to buy one, but they don't make them in my size.
It's interesting because we get to this point, and it'll be fun to talk about because that's going to be another section of Ryan Reynolds' career where it's just like no one quite remembers this movie. Like you might remember the idea of it, and we'll see what went right and what went wrong and all those kind of fun things when we do this yet again next week. So join us next week for more Ryan Reynolds. For Sweet Chauncey, Bruce Leslie, I'm Adam Portress, reminding you that if you cut every corner, there'll be more time for play.